Thank you and good afternoon. This is Sam Vaughn for Sam Sports Report. Today's date is Monday, November 20th, 2020. This is Sam Vaughn. I'm going to enjoy wearing my hat while I can because just in a few hours when I go to the Chiefs game, it will be raining and you will see that on TV. We'll do the 12 o'clock games. First we'll do the best game and in the end we'll do the other best game as well. As many of you knew, they thought that the Browns and Steelers game wouldn't be all that maybe that close as they lost their starting quarterbacks, but it was a 2.5 favored Cleveland game. It was a good game. At half, it was 10-0 though, and at the end of the third, at half it was 10-10. In the third quarter, at the half, it was 10-7. And in the third quarter, they would return a 74-yard touchdown to make it 7-10. And then a field goal to tie it. And then 4 punts in a row by the Browns and Steelers. A game-winning field goal to make it 13-10 was the final. Darwin Thompson wins his first NFL start. He only had 165 and 1 touchdown, but it was enough. And for the Steelers, Jaylen Warren was the only player to mention that had a good game. He had 129 yards on just 9 carries. Rest of the stats not mentionable. Steelers dropped to 6-4. Browns advanced to 7-3. The Browns are a game behind the Ravens. The Ravens, who in a 34-20 victory, some people are saying they will be the toughest team for the Chiefs to beat now that everything's settled the way it has. $13-10 was the final. Next game, Titans 34-14. Jaguars, it wasn't even close. The Jags got off to a 27-0 lead. I thought it would be rather close, but it was not. After 27-0, the Titans would make it 34-14, and that would be the final score, 34-14, Jaguars over Titans. Trevor Lawrence goes for 262, 2 touchdowns. Will Levis hasn't been great. He does go for 158 and 2 touchdowns, but since his first start, he is 0-3. The Titans drop to 3-7. The Jaguars are 7-3 in the top of their division. And we went on our standings yesterday. That's going to be posted at the end of the podcast. Panthers, Cowboys, the worst team in the NFL. The Panthers don't get their first pick because they traded it to the Bears. This is seen to be a good trade for the Bears, and also they have a better quarterback class in 2024 that nobody talks about. Cowboys forced 2 turnovers. The Cowboys sacked the Panthers 7 times. 33-10 was the final. Giants may have came out where they were supposed to be. Daniel Jones was dropped from the starting quarterback. Was Tommy DeVito, who had 3 touchdowns and 246. Sam Howell killed the Washington Commanders as they had 255 for 3 killer interceptions, 31-19. Giants advanced to 3-8, and Washington Commanders go to 4-7. Everyone says that the Chiefs maybe miss Eric Bieniemy, but he hasn't showed it much for the Commanders' offense. Maybe it would be different here in Kansas City. The Giants are 4-8. The Commanders are 4-7 on the season. Detroit Lions and Chicago Bears squared off. The Bears led 26-14 with an INT. With 4:15 to go, not only would they score the next time to make it 6-21, 2:59 left, and on 3 plays, the Lions were done. And on 3 plays, the Bears were done. Lions would score by David Montgomery, run to take the lead of 28-26. The Bears would have a final drive to tie it, but the ball would go in the back of the end zone on a safety sack to Justin Fields That would end the game. 31-26 was your final at the end to the safety. The Bears are 3-8. The Detroit Lions are 8-2. The Texans and Cardinals came out with the 2 games in a row. Good games for the Cardinals. For the second team worst in the league, the Cardinals 10-7 at the end of one and grabbed a lead of 14-10. The Texans would add another field goal. The Texans would lead 14-10, and the Texans would add a touchdown to make it 21-10. Cardinals would score to make it 21-16, but it was a punt and a turnover on downs, and then a turnover on downs. After that, it was 21-16 final. Cardinals had a chance to score on the Texans 27, but they did not. Texans are 6-4. Cardinals dropped to 2-9. It was the Packers squared off against the Chargers. It was another close one. The Chargers had the ball down 3, and then Quentin Johnson dropped it on a 3rd and 6. Packers would go off sides, but on a 4th and 1, an incomplete pass that was tipped. Final score, 23-20, Packers over Chargers. And then 3 o'clock game, the best one of the day was the Seahawks and Rams just squared off. Rams added a touchdown to make it 16-14, and a field goal at the end. They ended to make it 17-16. The Seahawks missed a field goal at the end, and the Rams would kneel it down to win 17-16. The 49ers controlled the Buccaneers throughout the game. It was 27-7, and a touchdown to start for the Buccaneers, but it would not be enough as Brock Purdy goes 333 and 3 touchdowns. Brandon Ayuk had 15 yards, a catch for a touchdown, 27-14. Jets, the Bills wasn't even that close. The Bills definitely paid their due to the Jets, beating them in the first game. The Jets, on opening night, 32-6 was the final. In this one, all Bills. The Vikings and Broncos squared off in the Sunday night game. It was a great game. It was 17-9 going into the 4th. Vikings, it was 17-12 after the Broncos added a field goal. A field goal by Will Lutz, 17-14 again. A Vikings field goal to make it 20-14, but C.J. Sutton to Russell Wilson would grab a lead after getting a touchdown by a catch by C.J. Sutton, wide receiver. Broncos win that 21-20 because of the ball caught in the back of the end zone. Reed gets the possession, but on penalties, the Vikings would move back and eventually move back to 4th and 25. And on a dandy game, the Vikings were not able to make it. The game ended in a 21-20 score. The Vikings had won 5 in a row, but couldn't get that going. The Broncos have now won 3 out of the last 5 and 4 in a row to get to 5-5. The Broncos are 5-5. The Vikings are 6-5. It's a 21-20 loss. Now we get to Monday night. Chiefs.
And who better to break down this matchup than Scott Van Pelt, one of the very best in the business, of course, from ESPN. He'll be hosting Monday Night Countdown on the field beginning at 5 p.m. Central Time in Kansas City. Scott, what's going on, man?
I'm fired up. I wish we would kick this thing now. I'm really excited for all of this. I mean, the game's one thing. I've never been to Arrowhead, and I don't know if there's a ton of room for us on the sidelines, but wherever they put us, we're excited to be coming out there.
I mean, what a first matchup to be here for. I mean, a Super Bowl rematch. It's Chiefs versus Eagles, 2 best teams in the NFL. Both teams coming off their bye. Should be just an awesome matchup. And my first question for you, just in general, what's a specific matchup you're most looking forward to in this game, whether it be the Chiefs offense against the Eagles defense or vice versa?
Vice versa. That Chiefs defense has really been their calling card this year. I think we're so spoiled and used to seeing Mahomes do Mahomes stuff, right? And just he'll figure it out, and you hang 40 some odd on somebody. But the defense has really been the reason they've been great so far, I think. And that's not to minimize Mahomes. I think we're kind of just numb to it all. But you know what I'm saying. So I just want to see, how does that defense stack up against this Philadelphia offense that is, I start to say unique. I'm a weird stickler about unique. Like, rare means not many, unique means one. And I don't know if the Eagles offense is unique, but it feels rare that just their approach, their ability to run it, their ability to be multiple. I don't know what Hurts' knee situation is. He didn't look great in his last game. So that unit, Philly offense against Chiefs defense, to me, that's where this game is ultimately won and lost.
Well, you're right about the Chiefs defense. They've been phenomenal this year. They've allowed the fewest offensive points in the NFL this season, and we're entering week 11. They've just been awesome. What are some keys for the Chiefs defense in this game, do you think, to make sure they can slow down Hurts in this Philadelphia offense?
Good luck with A.J. Brown. I mean, he's been an absolute monster. It's funny because, you know that thing in sports where, like, Giannis got thrown out of a game recently for doing that, like, too small bit. Well, A.J. Brown, you could throw him. I'm a Washington fan, and Washington actually played Philly 2 games, had them down double digits in both games. They battled. But then in the game here in the nation's capital, Hurts just throws the ball up. They're not even 50-50 balls because he's just so much bigger than the defensive backs that are on him. And, whether you're going to have one man on him or you're going to sort of shift depending on where he is in formation, you're going to have to collectively figure out how to slow him down. But then, 6, much skinnier, but Devontae is nasty too. So, I mean, the running that Philadelphia does is kind of what makes them who they are. But then it's the ability for Hurts to sort of pick the guy he wants to beat you on a given possession. And the differences in the size of those wide receivers is just fascinating to me. Both great route runners. But ultimately, I think you've got to stop AJ, and that's been damn near impossible lately.
Yeah, well, second most receiving yards in the NFL, already over 1,000 receiving yards going into Week 11. But again, it's a testament to the Chiefs' defense that they've faced a lot of these number 1 caliber receivers, and no one's really had a great game against them this year. Tyreek Hill is included in that from a couple weeks ago. So hopefully they can keep it going here against A.J. Brown. Now, looking at Patrick Mahomes and the offense, it hasn't quite been the offense that we've all expected, of course. The standard is really high. It's still the number 13 scoring offense in the NFL this year. But what are your expectations for the Chiefs offense here on Monday against this Eagles defense?
I'm afraid the weather looks like a mess. Like, I'm kind of a weather geek, and I've been eyeballing that just because I'm rooting for good weather just because I want it to be a fast track and I want everybody to be able to play well. It looks like it could be rainy. And I started to say I think we'll see the best version of the Chiefs offense. There's the whole Andy Reid bye record. We all know about that. And I know, Patrick was ill in that game against Denver. And Denver played fantastic in it. He won't turn it over 5 times. I'll bet you that as a baseline. But I think everyone, Matt, is waiting to see who's, 87, fine. I get it. You're going to throw it to him a lot. Who's it going to be? I really like Rashee Rice. I'm a Maryland guy, no secret. He was an SMU guy. I think he had 73 receptions against us last year. Ballpark figure. And I was watching that guy, thought, I'd love to see where he ends up. Well, he ends up in a great spot. But everyone's waiting for somebody to take a step forward. And Rice has. But who's going to be the other person outside of Kelsey? And do we start to get some answers here in these coming weeks and months? And then you could, as a Chiefs fan, you could go, does it really matter? And the answer to date has kind of been no, because Mahomes makes whoever it is, much like Brady with New England back in the day. Did they have a true wide receiver 1 before they had Moss? Not really, but who did he have? Gronk. Same thing. It's the same kind of thing. So I expect to see a much different offense than we saw in Denver. We're all allowed to have a one-off. We're all allowed to not be the best version of ourselves every single day we go to work. And Mahomes has been as good as anyone, as you guys are so spoiled and know. Again, I hope the weather gives both teams a chance to be the best versions of who they are. And I just don't know that we're going to get that. But that's a variable that would impact either side of things.
But I think you're right about Rashee Rice. I mean, he's just been really impressive, I think, for a rookie in Coach Reed's offense this year. 4 receiving touchdowns. He almost had 2 more receiving touchdowns against the Bears way back earlier this season, tackled at the 1 twice. But he's really developed. We'll see what he can do against the stout Eagles defense on Monday night. But what a matchup. Should be a lot of fun. Scott, hopefully I'll see you then, and really appreciate your time here today.
I'm thrilled to be there. We can't wait to get to Arrowhead, and I'd love to say hello in person. Thanks for having me in, and we'll say hey if you're out there in Chiefs Kingdom. I look forward to meeting as many people. Bring barbecue. I'll eat all of it, any and all.
We've had a lot of key matchups to the game. Here we go. Tonight it'll be the Chiefs and Eagles. As we said, offense hasn't allowed the least points. The Chiefs defense has been outstanding, winning their games defensively, most of their games. Usually not their run is not usually the biggest strength. It was the Eagles' offense, I would say. The quarterback tush and everything unique about the Eagles' offense. I would agree they are unique. I look forward to seeing the matchup of Chris Jones, Jalen Carter. For the offense, I look forward to seeing A.J. Brown against Rashee Rice. As we look at him, he needs to get more snaps. DeAndre Swift, former Lion, Isaiah Pacheco at the running back position, Dallas and Travis Kelce at the Jason Kelce and Creed Humphrey, Josh Sweat, who has 6.5 sacks, Darius Slay and James Bradley. Chris Jones needs to get a sack. Darius Slay and James Bradley at a holding at the end of the game, which would lead to the Chiefs' win, and the holding led to the Eagles not getting the ball back. The Chiefs look at Trent McDuffie and L'Jarius Sneed at corner, who was talking about being re-signed for the Chiefs. This will be a close one, 30-27. It will be important for the Chiefs going for a good offensive performance, who has lacked a great performance. Game time is at 7:20. The Chiefs are favored 22.5. Here's the injury report update. It'll be the Eagles without Derek Barnett. He is out. Justin Evans is out. Dallas Goedert is out, so we drop him from the tight end position. Noka Dean is a linebacker. Richie James is questionable and has been questionable the whole year, so the Chiefs look more healthier. That's Sanborn Sports.